Hey guys, Morktork here. So we're going to be doing a video about Mage. We're going to be checking out their cards for Ashes of Outland, doing a quick review. Then we'll be going over some deck lists that I've made. I've theorycrafted with the new Ashes of Outland cards and tried to include them and see exactly how good they are so I can get that insight and make these reviews. So from what we've seen of the cards that Mage is getting, they're pushing this whole no Minion Mage pretty hard. So let's see what we have for that. So first card we're looking at is Font of Power. 1 mana, discover a Mage minion. If your deck has no minions, keep all 3. So you're running no minions in your deck so that you can get 3 random minions off of this all at once. This can definitely give you a lot of powerful minions, but it could also low roll and give you a lot of weak stuff. So while this could end up really well, the whole not running any minions in your deck, I don't know if that's necessarily worth the drawback of this to get that upside. You could just be running the minions in your deck in the first place, and then you'd be getting a lot more out of that way. I am overall not exactly thinking that this no Minion Mage is going to work, but I did make one, and I have seen some success from people playing it at the theory crafting live stream that people were doing. So I'm at least going to give it some hope that it might be successful, and I'm going to give it 3 stars. Then we've got a Pexus Blast, 5 mana, deal 5 damage. If your deck has no minions, summon a random 5-cost minion. So this is the main card that is really making the no Minion Mage a thing, so that you have this really big upside. It's like a Firelands portal for 2 less mana. I do think that is quite strong, though again, with this randomness, you might low roll and get a really bad 5-drop that's like some Battlecry minion that's very poorly statted because of that. You can deal the damage to face, so that's significant, and you can also send it to a minion if that's something you need to be doing. I think that this will probably be worth it in the no Minion Mage if that's a successful deck, but if you're playing a bad deck for the sake of this card, then obviously that won't be a good idea. And if you can't make a no Minion Mage, then this card will not be useful. But let's just assume that no Minion Mage will be strong enough, and I'm going to give this 3 stars. Then we have Incanter's Flow. 2 mana, reduce the cost of spells in your deck by 1. So this, clearly you can use this in the no Minion Mage. You get a reduction on every card in your deck because they're all spells. But honestly, I really don't know if that's even worth it. It's 2 mana, you're spending that 2 mana, you're spending an entire card in your deck to get this reduction. It can make things line up a little bit better, and it can make some plays come out a little earlier, but it is only reducing the cards still in your deck, not in your hand. You don't know what you're going to be top decking, and all that for the rest of the game. The discount is going to slowly come to you as you draw cards, unless you're drawing like crazy, which you won't be in a Mage deck. At best, you're going to be using Arcane Intellect and drawing 2 cards at a time. So as exciting as this card looks, I really don't think it's as good as people think it is. Despite that, I did put it in the no Minion Mage because we're at least going to try it out and see how that works. I also made a Secret Mage and put it in there because I know that one of the drawbacks of Secret Mage is the cost of the secrets. But again, the fact that you're playing it first and then waiting for the discount to come to you as you draw the cards is really, really slow and not something that really makes sense with the fact that you're trying to make things cheaper. So I'm probably going to be cutting it from the Secret Mage. If the Secret Mage even works in the first place, that's a whole other story. Regardless, despite the fact that I included it in the list, I think it will get cut from the list because I don't think it carries its weight. Even if we have a no Minion Mage, I don't think this card is actually going to be good enough for that, to be honest. So I'm going to give this 2 stars with the expectation that maybe one day there's a deck that really needs a discount on their spells, and that's when this will be a good card to include. And then we have Netherwind Portal, 3 mana, secret, of course, for Mage. After your opponent casts a spell, summon a random 4-cost minion. So you're paying 3 mana for a 4-cost minion. Because it's random, this is kind of how secrets normally work. You have to get a trigger, so you're paying a little bit for it. You might low roll on this. A lot of these spells are giving us a lot of randomness. Mage has a lot of randomness, so you don't know exactly what you're going to get. You hope that it won't be something terrible. But I think in most cases, a random 4-cost will be pretty decent. I think this is definitely one of the stronger spells, or the stronger secrets that Mage has right now. And I did put it in the Secret Mage, hoping that maybe this secret will be good enough to make Secret Mage more viable, in addition to the next card we're going to be looking at. It's also in the no Minion Mage because you need more minions on board, otherwise we're not going to be able to keep up. So this definitely went in there. If neither of those decks work out, this card won't see any play because it's definitely not going to be included in a Highlander Mage. So I'm going to give it 3 stars, just because we're still assuming that no Minion Mage is a 3-star deck. Then we have Apexis Smuggler, 2 mana, 2/3. After you play a secret, discover a spell. So we got a new secret. We've got this card. I decided to try and build a Secret Mage. We'll see if that ends up working out. We do have quite a bit of synergy still in Standard for secrets. A lot of the secret synergy for Mage actually came with Uldum and didn't really go anywhere because we hadn't gotten enough of it yet. We hadn't gotten any crazy Mage secrets to run in those decks or anything. So maybe this will be enough. I don't have high expectations for that. I'm still thinking that the Secret Mage I built is not going to end up being successful. I'm going to give this card 2 stars, and with more secret support, it will potentially become a playable card. Then we have Star Scryer, 2 mana, 3/1, Death Rattle draw spell. So this is barely an upgrade over Loot Hoarder. You just get +1 attack, and you get it tutoring a spell instead of just any card. Sometimes you might want to draw a spell specifically, although in Mage I think you're normally running a lot of spells, and you normally don't care, especially about getting a spell over a minion. I also think the 1 extra attack over Loot Hoarder is rather insignificant, given that it only has 1 health. It's very squishy and easy to be killed. You might want to run this in a Mage deck where you're hurting for draw because it's slightly better than Loot Hoarder in most cases. But I think that that's probably not going to be the case. I didn't run it in any of the decks that I built. I didn't find any reason to think that I should. So I'm going to give this one 1 star. Then we've got Deep Freeze. 8 mana, freeze an enemy, summon 2 3/6 water elementals. So you get to freeze something and get some water elementals that can let you keep freezing things. I think this is a pretty nice tempo push. Both water elementals are worth 4 mana, and you're paying 8 mana. You're getting the extra freeze on top, so you're all bundling it together into 1 card. I think it's quite a good deal. Obviously, it's slow because it's an 8 mana card, but I did include it in my new version of Highlander Mage, where I'm running Theoris and Naga Sandwich, and that kind of large spell type of package. It's also in the no Minion Mage because you need more minions, and this generates minions, so it's important to that archetype as well. I don't think it's a crazy card. It's just a nice, solid card. I'm going to give it 3 stars. And we have Imprisoned Observer, 3 mana 4/5 demon, dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. So this one seems really awkward. You get the board clear when it goes off, but your opponent will know that a board clear is coming, so they'll be able to play around it to a degree. Some decks might not be able to play around it and will just have a lot of small stuff like a Zoo Warlock or something perhaps, but I don't necessarily think that's especially true. The 2 damage isn't an especially good breakpoint. 3 damage is normally more significant in most cases. It's just a generally slow card because of the dormant effect. It's got a 4-drop stats as well, not exceptionally great if it's coming out on 5, and any later than that, you are waiting on this board clear. I didn't decide to put it in my Highlander Mage, and that's definitely the only place that you'd even think about putting it. So I'm going to give this one 1 star. Then we have Evocation, 1 mana, fill your hand with random mage spells at the end of your turn, discard them. So you get a lot of options when you play this. You get to play as many as you can manage to get down. It's basically like a large discover effect, as big as the amount of hand space you have, and you get to pick as many of them as you want, and then the rest of them are gone. I included this in all the decks I made, and I will probably include this in every mage deck till it leaves standard. I think it's an amazing card. I think having those options are just that much flexibility and ability to find what you're looking for in a time of crisis is really significant. I'm giving this 5 stars. And then we have Astromancer Solarian, 2 mana, 3/2, spell damage +1, death rattle, shuffle Solarian Prime into your deck. And Solarian Prime is a 7 mana, 7/7, spell damage +1, battle cry, cast 5 random mage spells, target enemies if possible. We've already looked at the possibilities that this can cast, and generally speaking, it's going to be a very good effect if it's attacking your opponents, because there's pretty much no beneficial mage spells like buffs and stuff like that. Conjurer's Calling is the only like whiff that you could imagine, but if you get a Conjurer's Calling on one of your opponent's minions, you still get the twin spell back in your hand, so that's not even honestly that bad. I think that you'll probably be able to drop this and get some secrets or clear their board, maybe even kill them with some random fireball or something. I think this will be a really strong card in Highlander Mage. I'm giving this card 5 stars. Alright, so that's all of the mage cards, so let's check out the list that I came up with and see what we've got. So I think it's fitting that we look at the no Minion Mage first. So as I said, we've got Evocation in every deck because it's going to be sick. We've got Raid the Sky Temple because it's going to be very easy to trigger when you've got this many spells. You're going to be getting even more spells from the hero power afterwards. We've got Learn Draconic, also very easy to trigger because every card is spells. We've got Font of Power, Incanter's Flow, which I still really don't think is going to be good in this deck or any deck, but we'll see if it ends up giving us enough of an extra discount so that we are able to play some of these more impactful spells earlier. I've got Ancient Mysteries with a few secrets so that you can pull those and play them down for free. I only ran 1 Ancient Mysteries just in case we draw all of the secrets or something. Apex's Blast, of course, and then 2 Deep Freezes and 2 Power of Creations, because these are going to be the big tempo pushes where you play this, you get lots of minion pressure on board all at once, and that can definitely help a lot. And of course, Amazing Reno, and he's going to do his thing, remove everything on the board and give you random spells every turn. Definitely a good clear when you're really screwed. And overall, not thinking that this is going to be an exceptionally great deck. It's probably going to be heavily dependent on a lot of randomized effects. But that definitely sounds like fun to me, so I'll definitely be trying it out on day one. Then we have Secret Mage. It's got the Secret Keepers, it's got the new Apexis Smuggler, Ancient Mysteries to pull the secrets and make them free. It's got the Black Mage, which can clear your opponent's stuff while you're developing those secrets. And then Sunreaver Spy. I've got that in Canter's Flow. Hopefully it's good enough. You have to play it early or else it really isn't going to be doing much for sure. And then, of course, Netherwind Portal's hopefully going to be the big standout secret that we've got now. Got 2 Flame Wards and 2 counter spells because those are exceptionally good secrets, I'd say. And then 1 copy of Ice Barrier and 1 copy of Mirror Entity. We've also got the Frostbolts, Fireballs, and Cloud Prints for the ability to burst down our opponents, which is hopefully the win condition we're having. This is a tempo deck where we're trying to push face damage and finish them out before they're managing to stabilize and lock us out of the game. That's why we definitely need those Arcane Intellects so that we still have enough juice. But definitely, once you've played out all the secrets, you kind of just start relying on, hopefully you're at a good state by then. Otherwise, you kind of out of resources, and that's normally how Secret Mage games go. That's what I've been seeing in Wild anyways. Then we have this Cyclone Mage that I made. We no longer have Elemental Evocation, sadly, so you can't make Mana Cyclone cost 0, which does make Mana Cyclone plays a little bit more difficult. But this deck is a Elemental deck. It's got this Mana Cyclone, and it's got Khadgar, Conjurer's Calling, and Shinvala, and then Mana Giant. So you are hopefully getting the Mana Giant down after playing a lot of these generated spells that can make it very cheap. Then you Conjurer's Calling it, it duplicates, maybe even you have a Khadgar up. That would be really great. We also have an Animated Avalanche, which we have quite a few elementals in this deck that can trigger it, so it can be a big board swing when that happens. And we have a random Kael'thas in here, because if you've got a ton of random cards, then I think it's very likely that you'll have some cheap ones and some expensive ones. And if you've got Kael'thas in this deck, then you can use the cheap ones to play the expensive ones for free. So I kind of like that idea. You're not necessarily going to actually do much there, but otherwise you might have a lot of trouble playing these expensive spells. So I do think his inclusion might be worth it. But of course, Mana Cyclone and Cyclone Mage has been struggling lately. I don't think this version is going to be that much better. Outside of Evocation and Kael'thas, this is not a new deck, so it doesn't really change up too much from what we're doing here. But it's still a deck you can play. And Evocation, I think, is significant enough that it could make Mana Cyclone a lot better on its own, which is crazy. And then for our last deck, we have Highlander Mage. Obviously, Highlander Mage is the most played mage deck on ladder. That's not surprising to anyone who plays Hearthstone. So we're adding in Evocation and Astromancer Solarian because those 2 cards are nuts in here. I actually put in an Imprisoned Vile Fiend because I said in my initial reviews that I thought it would be pretty good in a slower deck like this to set it up on 2 and then have it be something that comes in later. And you don't run a ton of cheap cards in Highlander Mage in the first place, so I do think it's a good inclusion actually. And then of course, as I said earlier, this has the Naga Sandwich and the Phaoris, so that you can run stuff like Deep Freeze and other expensive spells, and then you get those big swings that way. I think without Luna's Pocket Galaxy. It does need to go in a new direction, and I think this is a good direction for Highlander Mage to go. So that's all the decks. We checked them all out. I hope you found them interesting. If you are excited about them, go for it and play those decks on day one. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you think of Mage in the upcoming expansion. What cards you're excited about trying out. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content in the future. We will be continuing to do all the reviews for the rest of the classes. We're already almost halfway through. Please drop by my stream if you'd like to see me live playing that Hearthstone. I'll be doing Ashes of Outland content, of course, when it goes live. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.